So today I wanted to stay on the topic. So I've been talking about your employer brand for the last couple of days, and I had a really good conversation with my friend Debbie yesterday, and we talked about culture, and we talked about how the importance of culture to an organization, to the hiring process, and how your employer brand is not about what you tell people, what you tell the external market. You've got to be living and breathing it. So Debbie, if you're watching this morning, you've inspired this topic. You've got to be living and breathing it as an organization. And so, it prompted me then to talk a little bit more about your EVP, your employee value proposition. I guess the first question is, what is that? What is an employee value proposition? And if you know me, and if you've been following me, or if you've looked at my profile, you'll know that I did a Masters of Applied Business program at Henley Business School a few years ago, and graduated in 2016. And that was a very practical course. So it was all about business management and business leadership. And, one of the topics that we talked quite a lot about was things like the employee psychological contract, and things like your employee value proposition, and what that actually meant. And one of the textbooks that we used in a few of our modules actually was by Marchington. Marchington described it in a way that I thought was, and I thought I'd read it out to you, because I think it was quite simple and very understandable, and I thought I'd share it with you. But Marchington said that an EVP must be unique, relevant, and compelling if it is to act as a key driver of talent attraction, engagement, and retention. And so I thought I'd share that with you today, because, like I say, I thought that particular statement, I mean, he said lots and lots more, and feel free to read Marchington. It's quite a big textbook, but it is useful. But that statement, I thought, is really easy to understand and very easy to apply. And that's why I thought I'd share that with you today. So, just to go back over those individual parts again. So he talked about how an EVP must be unique. Now, obviously, unique is difficult to achieve in the world these days, because there isn't much out there that's unique. There's very few unique ideas, and so it's about being unique to you. So it's the unique mix, I think, is probably more important here. So the unique mix that makes your business or your organization what it is. What is it? What is it that makes you different? What does it that makes you stand out from other people in your market or your sector? What is it that makes people think, oh, this is a company that I want to join, or I want to work with? And second of all, it's got to be relevant. Now, of course, it's got to be relevant. This is probably a bit of a no-brainer, and probably a really obvious statement to make. However, sometimes people try to create an EVP and try to develop an EVP so that they can start to put that out there to help with that talent attraction. But it isn't always relevant to their business. They create something that they think is going to be, to look good to the external market. But, the individual then joins the company and finds out that actually what they heard from the outside as an external person looking in wasn't actually all that relevant. So it's got to be relevant, and it's got to, again, I come back to this living and breathing. You've got to live and breathe this. This can't just be something that you put out there to the external world that you don't live and breathe internally. The third part of that is it's got to be compelling, and compelling is really, really critical. If you've got an employee value proposition and it's not compelling, it doesn't attract people, it doesn't engage people, basically it's no help to you. So if you review what your EVP looks like right now for your organization, and if you listen to yesterday's session, I gave some tips on how you can identify what your current employees think of your organization, and also what the external market thinks of your organization, and what their perception of that at the moment is, what the perception of your culture is. But by doing that and by taking those steps, you can find out whether it is compelling and whether it does, are you an organization where people come to you to work to just because it's a job, and just to get a paycheck at the end of it. And now there's nothing wrong with that, but you've then got to be prepared for the fact that if you haven't got a compelling reason for people to stay with you as an organization, that they're more likely to leave quickly, and they're not. You're going to have high turnover, and if you're okay with that, then that's fine. Some organisations are, because for one reason or another they feel that their strategy is actually to bring in fresh ideas and fresh, unique perspectives all the time, and that often comes from new people. And that's fine. If that's your strategy, that's your strategy. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're looking at a strategy for long-term employee engagement and long-term staff retention, then your EVP needs to be compelling, and obviously it needs to draw people in and keep them with the organization. Today's Hiring Hive bulletin is going out shortly. One of the things I talked about on there today, actually, which is relevant to this, is how self-actualization, which is part of Maslow's hierarchy of success, how that feeds into the hiring process. And I would probably say that self-actualization in a work setting looks like purpose. It looks like the person is coming to work beyond getting paid, beyond feeling the sense of belonging with other people. It's actually having them feeling like they've got a purpose, and that's what's compelling. So thinking about your EVP in what is the purpose that people come to work with you. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're saving the world. Just because you haven't got a big saving people, saving lives, saving the world type purpose, doesn't mean you haven't got a compelling purpose. And it's really important to think about what that purpose is and why people come to work. And then the final part of that is that all of these three things are key drivers to talent attraction, engagement, and retention. So if you can get those three parts of Marchington's statement of what EVP looks like, if you can get those three things right, then you're well on the way to creating a sustainable employee value proposition, which is only ever going to help you, one, attract talent into your organization, because your current employees are going to be out there talking about this. If they go to the pub or the restaurant, or a restaurant on the weekend, they meet friends, particularly if you're in a local area, they're going to be telling people about your organization. I love going to work, I really enjoy my job, I don't hate Mondays. That's going to get out there, that's going to be heard, and that's going to become the perception of your organization to the outside market. So if you can get those three things right, and like I say, the key to this, it's not just having what I call a slogan or a statement. It's not just saying this is our EVP. It's so much more than that. It's got to be something that you live and you breathe and you embrace in your organization every day. It's got to become who you are as an organization, not just what you say about yourself. It's everything about your business. It's got to be lived and it's got to be breathed. Thanks again for my conversation with Debbie yesterday. That's really got me thinking about culture and why people go to work. It's so important. And if you really want to develop your candidate attraction and your employee engagement and your long-term retention, it's probably one of the most critical things to get right. So I'm going to leave it there for today, and I will see you for the final part of talking about your employer brand.